All right, so we're with David Almasy, former White House Internet Director, and we just finished up a panel called White House 2.0. And David, what I thought was really interesting was how you talked about your aha moment. Can you explain that?
Sure. So whitehouse.gov, before I started, was primarily a Web 1.0 approach. And so, we started including audio and video, and all that was always part of it. But in terms of when Web 2.0 took off, we started to approach it a little bit differently. And one of the ways that I realized that things were really changing was with the Barney Cam video. So Barney Cam, for those who don't know, is the president's dog. He's a little Scottish terrier. And after 9/11, access to the White House was obviously limited during the holiday time because of security risks. So the idea was how do we profile the holiday decorations, but also make it kind of fun for kids too. So my predecessor, Jimmy Orr, worked on a program called the White House, called Barney Cam, which basically was a video of the dog running around the White House. They set it to music and holiday music, and then they showed the decorations that way. So then fast forward a couple years later, the Barney Cam, it was a huge hit the first year, and it grew and grew. Traffic went up, and so then it came to me, and we had cameos, and we had scripts, and so the attention to it had really grown as well. And so it became a little bit more of a production as opposed to just filming the dog running around the house. So basically, we released the video, and the stats were pretty low. Right after we had released it, and I was kind of confused by that because I thought, well, there's more people out there who are watching it. The script, it had more cameos. We're involving members of the media as part of the production. And at the end of the day, I called the web team and I said, what are the stats? And they said, well, they're not looking too great. And then I said, I don't understand because there's all these other sites that are carrying it. And then I began to realize that by feeding it to the press, they were carrying it on their websites. YouTube and iFilm and all these other video sharing sites were carrying it. And so then I began to realize that is it more important that about 8 million people saw it on whitehouse.gov or that potentially 30 million people saw it on all the other sites out there? And I realized it was obviously the latter. And so we really used that as the kind of a silly, fun example, but we started applying that to everything else we were doing. Presidential speeches, radio addresses, anything else that had an audio or video component, that we were making sure we're publishing that in such a way that people could actually take it and it would grow from there, and then people could comment on the issues of the day from there. So that's when the White House website really kind of shifted, and that was probably in about 2005, 2006 is when that started to occur.
Great, thanks a lot, David. And one more question. Republican or Democrat, your top 3 recommendations for the next president with regard to the internet?
Good question. Number 1 is make sure that you allocate the appropriate resources to that. Number 2, understand the power of information and how fast it travels, and use it as there's always a lot of push to find out what the next new website's going to be. Don't focus on that. Focus on what the next big challenge is and how you think technology will solve it.
Great. David Almasy, thanks a lot. Really appreciate it.